Good evening and thank you for joining us. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to slap another 100% tariff on Chinese imports from next month, having accused Beijing of making hostile moves to tighten rare earth exports vital to a host of industries. His remarks disappointed Wall Street, sending U.S. stocks tumbling. Danny Zhou has the story.
Months after negotiators from the two sides reached a trade truce, Donald Trump reignited tensions with China by raising the prospect of another trade war. In a social media post, the U.S. president declared he would place an extra 100% import tax on Chinese goods, on top of the 30% already in place, along with U.S. export controls on any and all critical software. He said the new tariffs and restrictions will kick in from November the 1st. Trump claimed the move is in response to Beijing's latest export curbs on rare earth minerals, which require foreign firms to obtain special approval for exporting the materials and related technologies. Trump described the curbs as shocking and out of the blue. He said China was holding the world captive through its dominance over the supply chain of the rare earths and magnets and becoming very hostile. He also called off a possible face-to-face talk with President Xi Jinping in South Korea later this month, saying there seems to be no reason to meet. Trump later changed his tone, telling reporters at the White House he had not cancelled it, even though Beijing has yet to confirm the meeting.
Just want to confirm, have you canceled your meeting with President Xi? And
no, I haven't canceled, but I don't know that we're going to have it. But I'm going to be there regardless, so I would assume we might have it. But, you know, they hit the world with something that really is not anything that people are going to do. And it was shocking.
Trump has suggested export controls on Boeing plane parts may be imposed as part of the retaliation. At present, Chinese airlines reportedly have some 1,855 Boeing jets in service. Big tech shares on Wall Street fell sharply after Trump renewed the trade spat with China. Nvidia was down almost 5%. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq Composite also recorded their largest single-day percentage slumps since April. Meanwhile, in Beijing, the Transport Ministry hit back at U.S. port fees on China-linked ships. The ministry said it would slap port fees on U.S.-owned, operated, built or flagged vessels from next Tuesday. It urged Washington to correct its wrongdoing with a pledge to safeguard the legitimate rights of Chinese shipping companies. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
The trade war between China and the U.S. will also affect Hong Kong companies, likely in relation to goods for the Easter period. Samantha Lee tells us more.
Despite being a free port, Hong Kong has not been spared from the trade war between Washington and Beijing. This as the Trump administration has unleashed a trade war by imposing additional levies of 100% on Chinese imports from November 1st. Together with the 30% already in effect, all goods sent from China to the U.S. are subject to 130% tariff. Danny Lau, Life Honorary Chairman of the Hong Kong Small and Medium Enterprises Association, said trade orders for Christmas have basically all been delivered, except for some high-end items which are sent by air. Factories are now producing Easter goods. He said Americans might consider buying from regions outside of China, probably in Southeast Asia. President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Donald Trump could meet on the APEC summit in South Korea at the end of this month. A scholar on international relations, Chu Yu-lok, believes the trade dispute might become a bargaining chip between the two superpowers. He said diplomacy is often a matter of posturing, and this could be a process of bargaining. He hopes China and the U.S. will be able to reach an agreement on trade. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Donald Trump did not win the Nobel Peace Prize, but he spoke with the winner, Maria Corina Machado. Trump has suggested he could have won for his deal-making for the ceasefire in Gaza. David Garrett reports.
The prize Donald Trump so coveted. He wanted to be the 5th US president to be bestowed with the Nobel Peace Prize after Theodore Roosevelt in 1906, Woodrow Wilson 106 years ago, Jimmy Carter, who picked up the accolade in 2002, 21 years after he'd left office, and perhaps the one that rankles with Trump the most, Barack Obama in 2009. Trump says it was an award for nothing. The winner in 2025 is Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado. The activist barred from competing against President Nicolas Maduro in elections last year was chosen by the Nobel Committee because she kept the flame of democracy burning.
Machado, Gonzalez, and hundreds of others who participated in opposition efforts during the election have since faced brutal government repression.
The Nobel Committee considered their verdict before Trump was in office. The decision came well before a Trump-mediated deal, which has halted the Israel-Hamas war, as Trump claims to have stopped multiple conflicts around the world.
A total of 8 as of this. 2 days ago, I would have said 7, which I did say, but the other one was signed up, sealed. As you know, Israel signed it just now. They signed it and they approved it today, their parliament. And it's a great honor to be involved with so many. So the person who actually got the Nobel Prize called me and said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it. That a very nice thing to do. I didn't say then give it to me, though. I think she might have. She was very nice.
In Florida, where the US president has his Mar-a-Lago residence, some Trump supporters were upset.
I was extremely disappointed because if anybody's deserved, in my opinion, the Peace Prize, it's been the man who's ended the Gaza war, tried very hard in terms of ending the Ukraine war, but it didn't surprise me. And I think it's probably a reflection of kind of the globalist dislike of what Donald Trump has done relative to putting our country first before global interests.
In one small corner of Trump's heartland, emotion over the non-American win. The Venezuelan community in Doral lauding the new laureate.
And I'm so glad, not only for her, but also for my country. She is an extraordinary woman. I don't have things to say because it hits me very hard and I start crying.
I'm happy because I saved millions of lives.
Trump has not yet managed to broker a deal in Ukraine, where Russian drones killed a 7-year-old boy in this attack. The war that Trump vowed to stop in 24 hours has raged for 3 years. Russian President Vladimir Putin, on a trip to Tajikistan, was asked about whether Trump should have won. Not for me to judge, Putin said, but praised the US president for effort. He is trying hard to resolve complex issues. The Middle East could be historic. Some things were successful, some weren't. David Garrett, TVB News.
After wrapping up his Italy trip, Foreign Minister Wang Yi is in Switzerland to attend the 4th round of China-Switzerland Foreign Ministers' strategic dialogue with his Swiss counterpart Ignacio Cassis. Wang says both sides have agreed to deepen cooperation. Foreign Minister Wang Yi arrived in the southern Swiss town of Bellinzona, where he was received by Swiss Federal Councillor and Foreign Minister Ignacio Cassis, whom Wang met several times this year, such as during the signing ceremony of the Convention on the Establishment of the International Organization for Mediation in Hong Kong in May. Also there were other Swiss and Chinese diplomatic officials. In a meeting over tea, Wang Yi gifted his Swiss counterpart a giant panda painting and a tea set. The two sides then held the 4th round of China-Switzerland Foreign Ministers' strategic dialogue, which lasted nearly 2 hours. Meeting the press, Wang says this year marks the 75th anniversary of diplomatic ties between China and Switzerland. He said both countries are turbocharging an upgraded version of their free trade agreement, with more goods to be granted zero tariffs and more cooperation over emerging fields including AI, high-end manufacturing and green transformation. Having extended the unilateral visa-free policy to Switzerland, Wang says China welcomes more Swiss friends to visit the country. He notes that both sides have agreed to deepen pragmatic cooperation, and Beijing appreciates how Switzerland has been a reliable friend amid changing global tides. On the Middle East, Wang says China welcomes all efforts to restore peace and save lives, noting the situation in Gaza is a humanitarian disaster. He says only when Palestine achieves a statehood can the root causes of historical injustice and violence be eliminated, with long-term peaceful coexistence between Palestine and Israel. A number of lawmakers announced that they would not run in the upcoming Legislative Council elections, including some of the longest-serving ones. The nomination period for the Legislative Council elections will begin on October 24th, with a number of veteran lawmakers revealing their intentions to not take part in the electoral polls. Long-serving Liberal Party legislator Tommy Cheung announced his decision on his social media page.
考慮到一國兩制嘅發展。
The 76-year-old says having considered the development of the one country, two systems and the needs of the catering industry, and after discussions with his Liberal Party members, family, friends and business partners, he has decided not to run and let young talent have more opportunities to develop. Cheung has been elected for 6 consecutive terms since 2000 and currently serves as an Executive Council member. Another Executive Council member, Chen Kim-por, the 71-year-old insurance sector lawmaker, also announced that it's the right time to pass the baton to a capable individual who has both a heart and aspiration to serve the insurance industry and Hong Kong. Chen has served LegCo for 4 terms since 2008. The 68-year-old Teck Chi-yun also decided not to run. He is currently the only non-pro-establishment lawmaker in the legislature. The Third Side Party chairman and social welfare sector lawmaker says he made the decision after consulting his party. He says the decision was made without outside signaling over whether he can or cannot run in the elections. Also stepping down is 74-year-old president of the Legislative Council, Andrew Leung, who cited family considerations, age and personal reasons for retirement. Ma Bun-kwok, 70-year-old election committee lawmaker, also disclosed his intention to not run.
無論中央又好，或者社會上有唔同嘅聲音都好咧。
Lau Siu-kai, a consultant of the Chinese Association of Hong Kong and Macau Studies, says both the central government and the public hope to see a younger legislature. Lau said the physical and professional demands on legislators are rising, which have put significant pressure to the older lawmakers. He says after the electoral overhaul, Hong Kong politics have become more stable, which can attract more aspiring individuals to run in the elections. China Daily's former deputy editor-in-chief Sun Shangwu has been appointed as deputy director of Beijing's liaison office in Hong Kong. 56-year-old Sun was a senior editor from the official English language state media outlet. He was appointed by the State Council according to an announcement by the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security issued this afternoon. Welcome back. Tens of thousands of Palestinians headed back to the heavily destroyed northern Gaza Strip Friday as a U.S. brokered ceasefire came into effect in a deal that has raised hopes for ending the Israel-Hamas war. A senior Hamas official thanked U.S. President Donald Trump in English for his work on the ceasefire deal. This as all the remaining Hamas-held hostages are expected to be released within days. Tracy Furness has more.
Palestinians in their thousands gathered in central Gaza and started walking north after the Israeli military announced a ceasefire that came into effect Friday noon. Israeli troops withdrew to the agreed-upon deployment lines. However, early Friday morning, Palestinians had reported some Israeli shelling in northern Gaza. This is what the Palestinians came home to: mountains of rubble, complete destruction, unrecognizable streets. The Israeli military had bombed high-rises and homes in what is said was an attempt to destroy Hamas's remaining military infrastructure. This man said, "I cannot specify where the house is or where the places are we used to live in. Even when it comes to the streets, I am asking, where are the streets?" This woman said, "We are in a state of shock. There are no homes or places for us to stay." This as a senior Hamas official thanked US President Donald Trump for his work on the ceasefire deal.
Without the personal interference of President Trump, in this case, I don't think that it would happen to reach this end, the end of the war. Therefore, yes, we thank President Trump and his personal efforts to interfere and to pressure Israel to make an end of this massacre and slaughtering.
Dr. Bassem Naim was speaking with Sky News and added that Hamas would not disarm until there is a clear path to a self-sovereign state.
We are not going to be disarmed as long as we are not sure that this will lead by any other means to have an independent, self-sovereign state which is able to defend itself.
President Trump, however, remained upbeat about the future of Gaza.
Gaza is going to be rebuilt, and you have some very wealthy countries, as you know, over there, and it would take a small fraction of their wealth to do that. But and I think they want to do it. And we're also setting up, as you know, a board of peace. It's called the Board of Peace. I don't know if that's the final name, but the word peace is definitely in there.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
2 powerful offshore earthquakes struck the same region in the southern Philippines hours apart on Friday, killing at least 7 people. The quakes set off landslides, prompting evacuations of coastal areas nearby because of a brief tsunami scare. The second 6.8 magnitude quake also sparked a local tsunami warning. That quake had a different epicenter, according to the Philippine Institute of Seismology and Volcanology. Back locally, Secretary for the Civil Service Ingrid Yeung says, even with the establishment of the Heads of Department Accountability System, the government might consider setting up an independent investigation committee to handle major incidents. Recently, some lawmakers proposed to review the incremental pay point system for civil servants. Speaking on the radio program, Yeung admits the current performance appraisal system is overly lenient, and the administration will study whether a more stringent mechanism could be introduced. As for the 2-tier framework under the accountability system, Yeung says the first tier will handle more general issues, while the second level will deal with widespread or systemic problems.
When the second tier investigation has to be triggered, it must be something that the public is very concerned about. In some cases, there may be, the investigation may involve personal data, privacy concerns, and so on. So the government will see to an appropriate way of disclosing details to the public. But as always, we will be transparent.
The city's first government-run urban farm opens today, where residents can buy fresh fruits and vegetables. The idea was initiated by the Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department. Samantha Lee takes a closer look.
An array of seeds sold automatically before they're stored inside a sterilized room, where temperatures, lighting and water levels are adjusted by artificial intelligence. Shelves showcase a variety of vegetables, such as butter lettuce, red sorrel and strawberries. All of these grow organically through the use of hydroponics and can be ready for harvesting in around 20 days. The city's first urban farm sits in the middle of Saisha Road Garden in Ma'anshan. Spanning about 500 square meters, the facility produces up to 10 kilograms of vegetables per day. Members of the public can buy their fresh products there, with the price of each package ranging from $20 to $50. Edwin Ho, CEO of the operator, claimed that compared to salad greens from the supermarkets, their plants are fresher and sweeter.
We have an original taste, so you don't need to use a salad dressing. Eat directly for the vegetable taste. If after they eat, they have the taste, it's very good, they just come back to buy again.
Urban farming is one of the strategies set out in the government's blueprint for the sustainable development of agriculture and fisheries. The concept promotes the coexistence of agriculture and urban development while enhancing the quality of urban life. Permanent Secretary for Environment and Ecology Irene Yang revealed that modernized hydroponic farms come stores on the rooftops of Tin Shui Wai Public Wet Market and Kutong North New Development Area Public Market are slated for completion in the coming years.
The government said it will continue to implement measures related to urban farming, such as adding urban farming elements into the planning stage of new development areas. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.